Hello everyone, and welcome to our analysis of the Festag update. So make sure you guys are comfy, you got your snacks, you got your drinks, your coffee, whatever it may be. We're going to jump right into this and take a look at both the campaign as well as multiplayer changes. So I definitely want to start doing a little bit more campaign here on the channel, especially since there's going to be an update to a lot of the old world factions that'll make the skill trees a little bit more dynamic. Because now when you go look at a lot of the beginning factions like the Beastmen and the Empire, and these factions that haven't really been updated as it pertains to their campaigns in quite some time, they definitely look a little bit archaic when you compare them to like the Vampire Coast, who has these really like fun, dynamic, engaging skill trees. So yeah, I'm really actually quite excited for this. And I think when the time comes, we'll actually do like a vote on the channel. I was going to do a Heinrich Kemmler campaign, but when this came out, I was just like, okay, we're just going to wait for this and see what the changes are. So the Festag update here, December 11th, 2018. This is probably going to be going up, a couple hours, give or take, maybe around, the night of the announcement here. So let's go ahead and scroll down. So the Festag update beta brings a number of improvements, changes, fixes, and balance changes to Warhammer 2. And there's actually quite a few balance changes, especially for the Vampire Coast. I know they got a lot of tweaks. Vampire Counts got some tweaks as well. A couple nerfs to like the Blood Dragon Vampire Lord and his Helm of Discord. So I'm really excited that this is a pretty comprehensive, patch here coming in the holidays. Definitely going to be a lot of fun. But yeah, update to major skill updates for Lords and Legendary Lords of the Old World that appear in Warhammer 2's Mortal Empires campaign. So yeah, definitely some fun stuff. Characters of the Old World get red skill trees comparable to their New World counterparts in Warhammer 2, plus numerous tweaks and changes to their existing skills, traits, and abilities. Character mounts have also been standardized to unlock at specific ranks. They are all detailed below. So yeah, this is going to be pretty vast. For a lot of the campaign stuff, I'm probably just going to kind of give a very topical look over. And for anyone who's interested in looking themselves and really just kind of digging deep into it, because if we talked about every campaign change on this like huge the sheet that they have below, it would take quite some time. So to save you guys from having to listen to my rambling for like multiple hours, we're probably just going to kind of go through it, and we will be putting a bit more of an emphasis on the balance changes and stuff like that. So here's the instructions for anyone who wants to install the beta. You can go ahead and test it out. I'm pretty sure that it's available to anyone, so that's pretty cool. I'm not sure when the launch date is. Maybe it's on here somewhere and we'll come across it, but I think it's probably going to be before the holidays, around Christmas time, maybe a little bit before. And again, anything in these betas is always susceptible to changing. So if there's some bounces, they might not be finalized. Of course, I'm sure there's going to be some internal testing and community feedback. So yeah, here's the instruction details. And again, the link to this will be in the description as well as the comment section below. And here you can see the red skill tree update. So the major update revamps the red skill trees of the Old World and Legendary Lords and Mortal Empires, adding a host of new skills and updating existing ones to be on par with their New World counterparts. So definitely very cool. And you can see it's quite vast. I mean, when you click on it, it kind of expands, but it's still really tough to read. So you're going to need to like zoom in on this. But you can see the Empire gets like just, so Empire's finest. It's a massive amount of changes. So just to spare you guys, we're not going to go through all that, but I'm sure it's fun. It's probably going to revamp those skill trees for the Lords and Legendary Lords. So very excited for that, but definitely make sure to take a look if you're really interested in this aspect. So skills changed to single or double tier. So these are now single tier, have old 3. Oh, okay, that's kind of cool. Yeah, these are all things that have been changed, right? So Imperial Special Forces with Karl Franz, like all these are just different. I mean, this is a lot. This is a lot. It's going to make a big difference for individuals going back to play the older campaigns, and definitely hopefully bring them up to snuff. So, and here you can see the late yellow skill tree line here, the work of God, Folkmar the Grim, and the Archlectors there, which is always cool. Miscellaneous skill and trait changes. So all Beastmen Lords now have the 4 skills: the Crown of Horns, Slug Skin, Rune of the True Beast, and Manbane. And then same thing being done for the Wood Elf red tree skills here. So yeah, see, this is just all campaign stuff. Karl Franz is now even more of a leader of the bros here. Karl Franz, leader of men's skill, now 50% or up from 25%. And defeat Manfred trait. Oh man, there's so many different things. Now, for someone like myself, I didn't play the most campaign. I mean, I played a couple, but I probably beat the Chaos, the Vampire Coast, and Beastmen, and a couple other ones. But for the most part, it's going to be pretty fun to go back and take a look at all these. So changed Vampire Count Bloodline Lord skills. Okay, so the Unliving Host, Call of the Night, Walking Dead, Carriages of Death. Oh, the Mighty Black Coach. Okay, so you can see these are just minor tweaks. For example, the Walking Dead, the effect used to be melee attack, now it's melee defense, or effect was melee attack, melee defense speed, now it's melee attack, armor for Blood Knights and Black Knights. Okay, so just like minor tweaks on things, which, I don't know, maybe it's like for balancing purposes, but again, I'm not the biggest expert on campaign and the nuances of the campaign metagame. I feel like metagame and campaign, like, it's kind of just, you can almost make anything work in campaigns. Mount, well, I guess on Legendary and harder difficulties is tougher, so. Here's some details pertaining to unlocking mounts and different lords. That's going to be changed. So let's see if, the flying mount, large vehicle, large monster. Okay. Got it. Checking that out. And now we're more in our purview. So we're going to be talking about multiplayer a little bit, Spectator Mode. So Spectator Mode, I noticed, was having a couple issues. It seemed like when I was using it in my Eternal Challenger leagues, it was crashing a little bit, which was a little bit tough. I don't know if it was because of Spectator Mode or if it was just kind of a weird thing that happened a couple times, but I think it was. So it looks like it's gotten some new features. So AI can now be added to the game. So that's pretty cool. So, if you're playing with your friends and one of you's watching and you're learning to play the game, this is going to be a very useful tool, right? You host a game, your friends joins, they pick their army. You can then add an AI, and I wonder if the spectator can actually pick the army for the AI. That'd be kind of cool. Like if you're like training someone to like deal with different threats, that's actually a really cool tool for newer players. A spectator host can now invite players into the game using the invite button. So that was something you couldn't do before. It was a little bit annoying, but that's going to be really nice for coordinating tournaments, our Eternal Challenger leagues, Ever Chosen, all that kind of stuff. Be able to get things together a little bit easier. Host spectator will now be able to use the spectator controls. Interesting. I wonder. Use spectator controls. Maybe that means like things like drawing and making markers on the map. Maybe we couldn't do that before and I just didn't notice. But players now connected to the spectator host can see the ready status of the host. Okay, so the player's ready up, but normally they couldn't see if the host was ready. But now if I click ready, the players are going to be able to see it and they'll be like, oh, okay, I better get things going. Campaign changes and fixes. These are all just like bugs and crashes. You can see that like there are certain things that weren't working. For example, like Kazrak's 3 recruitment rank for best scores now correctly applies to being faction wide. So before, I'm pretty sure that was just for him, right? So these are all just like little buffs and tweaks, very little things, but again, they could be pretty annoying, right? Like the Bone Giant now gains buffs from the Arrows of a soft skill, whereas he didn't before. So a lot of like nice little quality of life fixes here. So you guys can go ahead and take a look at these campaign changes and fixes. That is pretty balls deep. That is a lot of stuff. So battle changes and fixes here. Fix the crash that would occur when player tries to connect as a spectator to an ongoing battle and then tries to host afterwards. Okay, so there was an issue with that. I think I had experienced that. Added Battle of the Eternal Tides map to the custom battle pool. Interesting, I'll have to take a look at that one. Solastr Direfin's Slaughter of the Deep ability now works correctly. Female Vampire Fleet Admirals now have Skirmish. Female Dreadlord animations should now play correctly in the Mendrill's Manflayer's Rogue Army. Okay, that's like a super niche thing, right? Fixed a large number of cases where deployment zones were the wrong way around, which is cool. And the building outside playable area in the Awakening siege map will no longer float. No more floating buildings. It's unfortunate. Have a little coffee here as we continue. Miscellaneous changes and fixes. So yeah, this is just like memory and kind of efficiency stuff for the state of the game. But this is where the good and tasty stuff begins. Unit balancing. So this is stuff that you're going to be noticing on my channel, of course, with more of an emphasis on multiplayer. So Bretonnia. Green Knight hit reactions ignore chance 0 to 50. So I'm pretty sure that means that like when he's struck, it won't like daze him. He's going to be a little bit more like, because sometimes when a unit gets hit, it gets like staggered and they kind of stumble backwards. So I think that's good. What that is changing. I'm not 100% sure. Knock interrupts from 0 to 50. Okay. Got to be nice too. Plus 20 AP melee damage, plus 10 base melee damage. That's, I mean, good. Green Knight got a buff. And yeah, he's a fun hero. I mean, aside from matches in which they're Spirit Leech and stuff, he can be pretty annoying. Like a really good assassin. He's tough to kill. He's just really expensive though. Pegasus Knights do get a mass increase. Nice little buff. I think they need more than that because Pegasus Knights just really kind of suck. But yeah, I think that's a nice... I mean, giving them a mass increase so they can push out, because a big problem with Pegasus Knights is you land, you get, compromised a little bit by anything, right? You have like Haggard Spearmen pinning you in and you still can't escape. So I really like that buff to those. Knight Errants get a charge bonus, which is cool. Knight Errants are good. I mean, Bretonnia is one of the harder factions to play, so anything here is welcome. Charge bonus on the Defenders of Fleur de Lis. And the Grail Relic. Icon of Devotion's ability range from 40 to 55. Oh, that's nice. Maybe you'll see that a little bit more in like heavy infantry builds, or if there's like a Grail Guardian Death Star that you just want to be like keeping the leadership up. That's really neat. Dark Elves, the Charybdis is now aquatic. Guys, I think the game has officially been broken. We should probably just scrap it. The Charybdis can now swim. The world is over. Yeah, but all jokes aside. That's cool. I mean, it makes sense. It's an aquatic creature, so yeah, it's pretty insignificant, but still a fun little fluff thing to have there. The Thane now has access to the Master Rune of Slowness. So, Thanes used to have access to the Tormentor Sword, which is kind of the staple. It was the staple of Dawi play. And since then, you've seen the metagame shift over to Runesmiths being used, like just spammed all day because they can slow things, which is the biggest issue for the dwarves, right? Is like dealing with speed and mobility. I like that they've added this rune. I can't quite remember exactly what it does. I know it has something, I think it lowers charge bonus and maybe speed a little bit. Master Engineer no longer has that rune, so they just switched it onto the Thane. So trying to encourage you to pick some other characters instead of just spamming Runesmiths. The Empire Mortar has been lowered. Flagellants increased strength of the Penitent ability, 12 to 15. So nice little micro buffs for the Empire. Empire, again, is a very tough faction to play. Mortars are, decent in some matchups against like Elvish factions, so that's going to help their matchup a little bit against like Wood Elves and Dark Elves and things. So I like that quite a bit. And High Elves, more specifically. Greenskins. Crimson Killas, 20 men on Ultra. So does that just mean on Ultra? Yeah, I guess maybe there was an issue where the Crimson Killas wouldn't scale into Ultra funds. So they fixed that, but it looks like it's only on Ultra for all these different buffs, right? Let's see here. So, I mean, yeah, it says on Ultra. Or maybe they actually got all this? No, that wouldn't make sense, because that would just be like a huge nerf. It's probably just on Ultra phones, I would imagine. Azak can now equip the Spider Banner in multiplayer, so I'm going to have to take a look at that. I don't quite remember what the Spider Banner does, because, again, I don't play a ton of campaigns, so I need to take a look at that. But that, I mean, it can only be a buff, right? It's a new item. It's probably going to be pertinent and useful. And now this is quite curious. The High Elves, Alistair the White Lion has Dragon Mounts, added Siege Attacker. Does that mean we're going to be getting Alistair the White Lion in multiplayer? That would be really cool to get, like, oh man, he's a cool looking lord for sure. I wonder what like unique attributes he would bring to multiplayer. But this is something to keep an eye on. Maybe some of you guys can confirm that. Maybe there's something I missed, or there was some forum post articulating this. But if Alistair was added to multiplayer, that'd be cool. I mean, Turin is kind of like a beast in that respect, armor piercing assassin. But if Alistair could like have a similar role, but also have like flying dragon mounts and stuff like that, that could be kind of cool. Maybe he would have some applications. The Lizardman, bestilled on Solar Engine, is more accurate. Great. Yeah, that I always felt like that thing just horribly missed anyway, so it's pretty nice to see that thing get buffed. I know it did get nerfed in the very beginning of Warhammer 2, because it seemed to be a little, I mean, people were using them a lot, and they were just super powerful. So Norska did get a slew of changes here. The Marauder Ice Wolf Chariots can now run at 95 speed. Marauder Champions get 4 health per entity, which is nice. Norska is a little bit flimsy, so getting a little buff there is nice. A lot of times their front lines do just get run over by Dark Elves and things like that. So Marauder Champions, you get extra, 4 health per entity is quite a bit. I mean, if you have, what, like, how many models are in there? Like 60, 75? That's a pretty decent little HP buff. +2 to the run speed, so they're going to be a little bit quicker than standard heavy infantry, which is great. Yihar the Tormentor added Siege Attacker, Famir, Siege Attacker. So this is more like campaign stuff. So it's not going to be, I mean, unless you're playing multiplayer siege battles, then the Famir can go club the gates better, I guess. I don't know. Yeah, it's kind of cool. Oh my goodness. Plague Monk Sensor Bears, the Skaven. Definitely one of the weaker factions, have gotten a massive buff. +1 to their melee attack on Sensor Bears. I think that, you know, the old world should tremble in despair at this buff here. So, yeah, fun stuff. You know, what's really, in reality, guys, all jokes aside, what's going to happen with Skaven is they're going to be a little bit weak for the, you know, the foreseeable future. And whenever there's, you know, they do eventually get their DLC, I'm sure they're going to get a bunch of buffs and different things to come to their faction. So yeah, that's the Plague Monks, Sensor Bears there. Tomb Kings, Tomb Scorpion, hit reactions, ignore, chance from 0 to 40, knock, interrupts from 0 to 40, mass. Oh, mass from, so it got a mass decrease. Yeah, Tomb Scorpions are pretty annoying. Like, they have that attack animation and the ability to push through things. It's really tough to pin them down with like halberd and spear infantry. They can just like kind of cycle charge and kill you. So I definitely like having them get a little bit of a decrease on their mass. They're very annoying units. Okay, so this is the juicy stuff. These two right here, the vampiric factions, a lot of people consider the vampire counts to be a little bit overpowered. And the vampire coast, of course, has a couple units that are so strong. Probably should have waited to make my list videos before this came out. But deck droppers have had a speed reduction, which makes sense, right? They're like carrying zombies. Zombies are probably a little bit heavy, so I think that's a fine change. Deck droppers with handguns have had an ammo reduction, slightly reduced accuracy. Yeah, they're pretty absurd. I played a couple games on ladder in the past couple days where like someone like just messed up everything. Their entire army died except their deck droppers and like Noctilus just spamming summons, and they just like gun you to pieces, like your elites and your heroes. So I think they shouldn't be so accurate. It's literally a zombie being swung by a bat in the air, shooting like while he's like unbalanced, and he's a zombie. So I think that, you know, nerfing their accuracy is definitely pertinent. Bombers have had a bit of a buff to their ammunition, zombie gunnery mob bombers, charge bonus, ammo, melee attack, and +40 man on ultra. Okay, interesting. So yeah, I mean, that's not bad, the ammo and the melee attack. They were pretty pitiful in terms of what they did. I still don't think they're going to be used in multiplayer though. Zombie gunnery mob with hand cannons, cost, number of men, lower projectile damage, but increased AP damage. That's good. That's good. I think they might, I'll have to take a look at their AP damage and look at everything overall. That might make them a little bit more viable, because 8 AP damage is pretty powerful, right? So that can make them like a blast unit against like heavy armor, right? Just like a massive shotgun. I think that would be really neat. Now this is a big one. Animated Hulks, 25 armor is a lot, right? I mean, that's 25 armor is no joke. 4 melee defense and 10 leadership. They're not going to crumble as quick. 4 melee defense is going to be helpful. I think it only puts them up to the mid-20s, but it's still a lot when you count that with the armor. And there's no cost increase, right? So there's no like penalty for these additional stats. So I think you might see a couple more animated Hulks mixed in a couple matchups. I mean, this is a nice little buff here. Gallows Giant, projectile no longer expired before reaching max range. So there was a little bit of bugginess with their flamethrower at the ranged distance. So I think that's going to probably fix that, hopefully. Shade Wraith Gunners have had a cost reduction, which is fine. Deathstreak Terrorgeist plus 0.5 entity height. So it's a little bit easier to hit now, I guess. Yeah, 57% wider, so a bigger target and harder to pull out of melee. That's good. Terrorgeist can be pretty obnoxious for sure, like in general. So I really like that. It's probably going to be the same thing for the Vampire counts. Luther Harkin, Yeah, okay, so now uses the same entity size as the Death Streak, which is fine. Previously used a dragon-sized entity. Oh, wow, okay. So Luther Arkin removed all hands ahoy ability in multiplayer. So yeah, I think a lot of people were like just the Hornswoggle and all the different abilities they had. Maybe people felt that was a little bit overkill. Aranessa lost Hornswoggle, but she probably has all hands ahoy, and she still, of course, has her Fisherman's Net. I think why they removed that on Aranessa is because she would net you, and then as soon as like the net was off, or even before, they would then slow you. So she could just like chain slow and net you, and it was a little bit tough to deal with for sure. I don't think Aranessa needed that nerf per se because she's one of the weaker choices, but I see the direction they're going. Vampire Fleet Admirals no longer have Hornswoggle, but they now have in multiplayer battles, which is a big nerf. But they still have access to the, so they have Hornswoggle and they have Taunt. Taunt, of course, is a pretty good ability if I'm not mistaken. I think they have Taunt. Yeah, because just like the layering of debuffs was pretty disgusting with Vampire Coast for sure. Rotting Leviathan, Direfin added Siege Attacker, which is cool. That's pretty much, I mean, look, there's quite a few nerfs in here, but really it's mainly the deck droppers and the stacking of debuffs. Vampire Coast is still going to be very strong. Their handguns are just obscenely powerful. I mean, they have so many tools already. So I think Vampire Coast, a couple nerfs here and there is going to diversify their gameplay at the very least, right? You're going to see things like animated Hulks a little bit more, maybe. I don't know. Probably not as much as, I might make it sound like, but yeah, I don't know. I think I'm fine with those changes. Now, this is going to be big. Vampire counts, considered by many tournament players, and even on ladder, they're super powerful. Vampire counts have a lot of really abusable things they can do, like spamming single entity monsters. There's just so much nasty stuff they can do. So quite eager to see the different changes here. So Terrorgeist +5, yeah. So the Terrorgeist are now bigger targets, which is good. Going to make them more susceptible to focus fire. The Blood Dragon Lord removed Undeath Resurgent. Oh wow, okay, that's a big nerf. And it looks like he's had a change to his armor. He's had cost increases across the board. Yeah, making him a little bit less of a powerhouse of a duelist. The Red Duke on foot has cost, but he now has Frenzy, so he's going to have some additional combat stats, which is cool. Trying to bring the Red Duke up to snuff with his Blood Dragon Vampire Lord. I mean, yeah, that kind of makes sense. That's fine. So it looks like he's had, just minor changes. So cost added, but he also gets armor. And then on the Dragon, he does lose melee defense, but he also gets Frenzy, which is a good ability. The Vampire Shadows, Hellsteed is 10 armor. Vampires get 10 armor in general, which is neat. Lamian Vampire Lord has had a couple buffs as well. Neckarch as well, just got the Siege Attacker, pretty insignificant. Zombie Dragon here, yeah. So really the main thing is the Blood Dragon Vampire Lord. I think a lot of people felt that with his Helm of Discord and his powerful duelist abilities, he was just too powerful, right? He comes in, he uses Helm of Discord, he pops like Heart Piercing and just absolutely destroys whoever he's fighting. So I like the changes on that. It's anything that like forces a little bit more unit selection diversity and like tactical diversity, I think is healthy for the game. White King, Skeletal Steed is armor, and yeah, just some of the other underused lords got a little bit buffed on some in very minor areas. And now for the Wood Elves, Treeman hit reaction. Okay, so just kind of buffing the Treeman so they don't, I think that's a buff. I have to look up what the hit reaction ignore chance actually does. But Orion gets +10. Oh, Mel Gibson with the fat 10 melee defense buff. He was already pretty good in tanky, but that's going to make him even better. So hell yeah, Mel Gibson's like the only lord I like to use in Wood Elves. So Wildwood Rangers and Wardens got 4 leadership, which is good. Gives them some more options. And yeah. So we're on the last little section here, abilities. The Helm of Discord has had its range, 10 meter effect range? Yeah, okay, -10, okay. That's good. Helm of Discord was very powerful, but it looks like he still has it. So the Blood Dragon Vampire Lord still does have the Helm of Discord, but it does have a smaller radius. And on top of that, you can see he's lost the Undeath Resurgent. And on top of that, it looks like, yeah, he's had cost increases. So I think that's all going to kind of bounce out fine. We'll find out. And the Dwarves, Red Rune, Ungrim changed to unlimited uses. Oh, hell yeah. Ungrim's getting the fat buffs. Duration from 50 to 35 seconds, which is fine. I mean, usually someone's going to take like 1 or 2 blows from the Red Rune, and then they're just going to like run away anyway, so it doesn't really matter. 9 cost in multiplayer, added recharge and melee condition. I guess that's okay. I mean, he's usually going to last a while and be very grindy, so I think that's fine. I mean, whatever, yeah. It's not like a game-changing ability anyways. Axe of Dargo, 16% ability duration, 90% ability, wow, okay. And added recharge and melee condition, which is not an issue for him. He's going to be in melee. And Master Rune of Slowness changed to 18%. Oh, good. So we get to see what this is. Remove charge bonus. Okay, so the Rune of Slowness on things is going to be lowering movement speed, not by like a huge amount, but enough to be, pertinent, right? It could allow a Slayer to catch something that has like 50 speed or 60 speed in that range. So that's going to be useful. I like that. Greenskin Spider Banner, increased tier to uncommon, 82 cost and 30. Tell me what it does. We'll check it another time, I guess. And Get On With It is Azog. Remove charge bonus and added 8 leadership. Leadership's always welcome for the Greenskins. And Gitsnick with Grimgore, 18%, so it doesn't last as long. They took off 90 seconds off the ability to recharge and added recharge in melee. Okay, maybe you'll see it a little bit more. Still not the best. Grimgore still sucks. Wood Elves Horn of the Wild Hunt, +3 duration, remove speed effect. Oh, that's the best part. Oh, no. Why would you do that to Mel Gibson's Horn? I love the Horn of the Wild Hunt because it gave your whole army speed. So it's like he blows the horn, right? And then everybody goes crazy. Like, what else? You're not going to like care that much about charge bonus. Maybe on like Wild Riders and like War Dancers, but even still, that's like not, yeah, I don't know. You're supposed to like hunt things and pursue them, not like charge to your demise. I'm a little bit disappointed with that. That was one of my favorite things about Mel Gibson, but what can you do? Spells. Denizens of the Deep, 4+ 2 second recharge time. Okay, 4 seconds recharge time. Drown Dead, +1 power cost, which is fine. I mean, those summon abilities are pretty nasty. I mean, any micro level nerfs you can do to them. I mean, man, the ability to just spam summons with Noctilus is so brutal. I mean, I've seen players get outplayed so hard and simply win because of that. So the power cost is +1 when you upgrade it. Invocation from the Heck lasts 1 second less, and it looks like, yeah, so nerfs to Invocation and Drown Dead I think are going to be welcome, those abilities. Nobody uses Lore of the Deep, like rarely. I mean, I had someone take me out pretty good with it on ladder the other day, but I mean, it's still pretty rare that you do see it. So yeah, guys, that's it for all the patch notes. A lot of cool changes coming to the campaign, as you guys saw up here. Again, there will be a link in the comment section below and description where you guys can go check this out. And on top of that, a lot of good changes for multiplayer coming in with the Vampire counts and Vampire Coast mostly. Some minor changes like Norse get buffs to Marauder Champions, and Bretonian's got a couple little fun buffs. But for the most part, big changes to the Blood Dragon Vampire Lord, and it looks like a lot of different changes to the Vampire Coast with deck droppers, the animated Hulks being changed, and some different stuff like that. So very fun stuff. So again, guys, hopefully you enjoyed this breakdown and analysis. I'll try and do it more often whenever there's an update. Definitely quite a bit of fun to sit and chat with you guys. Maybe I'll just live stream it in the future so I can like answer questions and we can like talk about it together. That could be more fun. But anyways, guys, thank you so much for joining. Remember, if you want to look through these notes yourself and look at this massive, just chubby list of campaign changes up here, there will be a link in the comment section and description below. So thanks again for watching, guys, and stay tuned. We'll see you guys next time.